Here's the Zenith black dial. The model number is 8S154. And what I wanted to show was this wire right here. It's connected, this is the RF stage here, and it was wrapped around this wire here going to the oscillator tube. Now whoever did that didn't even bother about soldering it on the lug right here of the variable capacitor, and I must thank them for their laziness. It was much easier to remove, and the reason why they did that was they made a capacitor between here and here, bypassing this stage because there's an open coil in there underneath. And I'm going to try and repair first, and if not, try and come up with a suitable replacement. Here's the wiring diagram of that Zenith, and where the wire was connected, the arrow on the left is where the bare wire was wrapped around the lug of the variable capacitor at the top, and then the other end was wrapped around the wire leading to the oscillator tube, and that's the arrow on the right. And what that made was a capacitor that bypassed that RF amplifier. In other words, it took the RF signal from the antenna on the left and passed it over to the oscillator and discriminator circuit on the right. And the actual problem is this coil right here. I found out that it's wide open. Okay, here's the coil that I tested. I'll show you how I tested that. It's right there. And what I need to do is I measured the voltage on the plate, which is right here, and there was no voltage. So tracing it through, move the meter over. Okay, you can see that there's some ohms there. That's coming out of the RF coil can, which is good, and then that goes down here. There's another connection here. Okay, back here again. Okay, but when I go back here, which is where the power comes from, it is wide open. And when I check for voltage, there is about 220 volts there. Okay, I thought I'd show the voltage on this. There's supposed to be...
But that's capitalism. And sometimes it's
about 220 volts, 250 volts. It's here though.
That's how capitalism works. You have a reward system and a punishment system. If you make a product or provide a service that the marketplace wants, and you're able to make a profit.
Okay, now I'm acting like an antenna here.
If you come up with creative...
We'll get the same thing if I hit the plate that we tested earlier.
If you fail to meet the needs of the marketplace, you fail you eventually go bankrupt, or you go bankrupt and then you go out of business. I have such a hard time with companies that have failed in the marketplace now saying, but what about, what do you think about? I mean, what about?
Here's the voltage here.
There is no
So that coil is wide open.
You either are making money and you can pay your bills, or you're not making.
Here's the coil removed from the chassis, and you can clearly see one of the wires is broken. There's actually a couple of wires that are broken. And what I did was that wire that I took off of the chassis on top, I took one strand of wire from that and used that to mend both of those wires. It took a little while to get them soldered, so I soldered one, the other one would not come unsoldered. That's why I've got some distance between the two to keep that from happening. But everything ohms out correctly now. Okay, I've repaired the coil. I haven't turned power on it yet. But before I do that, I always check the resistance. Okay. Now that's from the coil inside of the can to the plate. There's the plate up there. Okay. And now we're going to go to here. And now back here. And now it is no longer open. I've repaired the coil and did a little bit of aligning on it, and it seems to be working pretty good. It's at night, so or right at dusk, so there's really no very strong stations yet. But here's that bullseye, and the idea is the stronger the station, that little dot will move toward the center. And I've got it on shortwave band C right now. And what I'm going to do is turn this and see if we can't find a station. There we go.
Before the mountains were brought forth, wherever thou hadst formed the earth and the world. I will now invite you to join us for our family Bible reading fellowship as we read together from God's Word, the Bible. Before the election, the U.S. race appears to be tightening again. Latest national polls continue to show Democrat Barack Obama leading Republican John McCain in a race.
Et tu placeras le diamètre de sainteté sur la tiare. Tu prendras l'huile d'onction, tu en répandras sur sa tête, et tu l'oindras. Tu feras approcher ses fils, et tu les revêtiras d'épines.
Open.
Zie, afgeschreven. Het wordt een zet. Overal in de wereld met de reddings- en ondersteuningsoperaties weer tot.
We could stand a few more tubes. The performance would be better, but it's pretty good right now. It's about where it should be, and with an outside antenna and a good ground, it would perform just about like brand new, if not like brand new.